this account. I don't want to get it. Bam, we're live. I don't want to get it. I don't want to lose it because I'm following people working out.
That would be a bad
Mr.
call.
Howell, hey, what's up, buddy?
What's up, dude?
Good morning.
Morning,
Did you already
JR.
work out today?
I did.
Oh, where are
Oh,
you?
nice. What'd you do?
Found a assault air rower on Facebook Marketplace up here in Knoxville, and I picked it up yesterday on the way to the venue. So me and my buddy just put it out in the parking lot behind a big tour van, and did like 30 minutes. One person rows for max calories. One person runs around the parking lot. It was about 200 meters, so we just did that for 30 minutes continuously.
Wow. How is that? I've never been on one of those.
It's a lot different feel. So, they use them at Wadapalooza, and you could tell a lot of the athletes had never been on it, but it was like the beginning of that row, swim, run event.
Yeah.
So it was really just kind of like a buy-in. It's a different feel. I would say damper wise, it probably feels like a 4 or a 5 on a Concept 2, but unlike a Concept 2, I actually found that if I decrease my stroke rate significantly and just let the fan really turn as long as it wanted to, almost come to a stop, I was able to keep a lower split time, which is like the opposite of a Concept 2. They say you want to continuously keep the chain moving. So it's different.
How's it feel though? Is there good action? I didn't like those exercise bikes from the 70s, and I get kind of that effect from the Echo bike. That's why I like the Assault bike more. The Assault bike to me feels like a real bicycle, where the Echo bike feels like one of those exercise bikes from the 70s where you just turn a knob and it lowers a rubber, like, I don't know what you would call it, a rubber ball, and pushes it against the tire. You know what I mean? To make it
So the magnetic resistance on them, right?
Yeah, and
That's what the Pelotons run off of.
I can't stand that feeling. It might make you fitter though. Did you enjoy it? I guess is what I'm asking. The assault rower.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just a different feel, so it's just something else to kind of get used to. And I really got it for my home gym. Just kind of like to have novelty stuff that I don't have at my affiliate. So like I've got an old Versa climber in there. I've got a Generation 1 skier. I really want to find a Jacob's ladder, but they're super hard to find and they're expensive as hell. So.
That's the thing.
Josh trains on it a lot.
Yes.
You like the Jacob's ladder?
I've actually never been on one.
I've used one. It's not the greatest. It's not as hard as people make it out to be. Like you can cruise on that thing for a half hour and it's no issue. And I guess if that's what you want it for, then go for it. But you put the belt on and you would think that it would be hard. Everyone's like, it's the hardest thing ever. You've seen those YouTube videos and people talking about it, right? It's not that hard.
What about the Stairmaster? That thing, that
thing is fucking hard. It's terribly hard.
Yeah, I've got a step mill. Yeah, I've got a step mill in there. I actually got it from my wife when she graduated from pharmacy school. So I got a step mill in there with a big Roku TV right above it. So she'll just get on it and go for like an hour on it. It's an awesome workout though.
That's the more accurate name, right? Step mill. I never knew what to call it because Stairmaster is the one where you just kind of stand in place.
Stairmaster is like the Gucci of Stairmasters.
It's just a brand. It's a brand, but they're all like step mill. Yeah.
People are sending me pictures from all over the events, and it's pretty funny. I wonder if you're getting stuff like this too, Hiller. This one's pretty funny. This is someone's like, "Hey, get this woman a ticket." This is Rich Froning's mom. It looks like she's outside the venue, like calling, "Yo, you know who my son is? Get me in."
Let me in.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I stayed up last night to watch. Oh, I don't have my event sheets here. Of course, I don't have my event sheets here. I stayed up last night to watch event 3 and 4 over at Torian. Did you guys watch those by any chance?
Oh yeah, but I watched them this morning.
Okay, and event 3 was the lift event, right?
Correct.
Is that event at every? Is that one of the events that's at every semifinal?
Yes.
Where have you been?
I just don't remember these things.
Yeah, it's the one that's at every one of them.
And the other one was the rope climb.
Yeah, you've been here. Yeah. Now you know.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy. It reminded me of my days of filming at the CrossFit Games. I did not enjoy that event at all until Tia and Cara went against each other. Until Cara missed the 245 and we got to see Tia. Well, we didn't get to see her. We got the commentators.
She didn't miss a 2. Oh, Cara missed a 240.
Okay, yeah, and then Tia scrambled and took some and lowered her
Yeah,
weights.
she was at 250, and then when
Yeah.
she missed, she lowered. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see her scramble too instead of just being told it. Did you guys enjoy that?
The entire lift?
Yeah,
I enjoyed it
just
one time.
watching
No.
all those people lift. It reminded me of being at the games. I really just don't like any. I just don't like any of the heats except the final heat.
Would this be a good point to bring up what I did enjoy about that event?
Yeah, please.
Which would be the no rep that Tia was
That
given
Tia
on her
got?
first clean.
Oh,
Yeah,
what a beast! He is a
Gave
beast,
him
right?
the stare down.
and then she grinded it out and hit the entire thing. Like she hit for a fourth rep, a weight heavier than most of the females on the planet were hitting.
Hey, does that mean that that means she did 4 touch and goes?
Correct.
4 touch and go squat cleans with two. I think it was 245. Andrew.
235.
Yeah, second load, I think.
Yeah, it was her second bar, and then
Oh,
her
right,
final bar
okay.
she hit the 245.
Wow.
Jr.
Yeah, see,
what'd you think about
that's
that
the kind
clean
of stuff
that
that's
she got no rep
exciting,
on?
right? Sorry, say that again.
What'd you think about the clean that she got no rep on?
I think that
What do you think she got called for?
I think that all 30 of the males and females at Syndicate would have been like, "What?" Same thing.
100.
I mean,
100%.
it was nuts. Like I'm actually one of the people that when there's any kind of barbell cycling for load, the whole stand with elbows slightly in front of the bar and hips and knees extended rarely ever happens.
Okay, wait. Before you guys dissect it, tell me. I don't know what the no rep was for. I saw it happen, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
So I watched it, and it had to have been her knees. That's like the only thing was that there was a slight bend in her knees at the top of the rep. That's why I asked what you saw, because she was standing there and she actually had control of it for what seemed like a second, and then she brought the bar down. But if anything, it would have had to have been the judge calling her out for her knees still possibly being bent. Now I said, and I was thinking that there were so many repetitions where everyone was doing that. They catch the first clean, they launched off of their shoulders. That is way worse, in my opinion, than what Tia was doing. Because you're looking there, and you're like, I guess her knees are bent. It looks like they're bent. But everyone else is doing that thing where they stand the bar up and they launch it off of their shoulders. They never show control. And this is an issue.
Okay, couple questions here. Trina, thank you for bringing in the popular.
It doesn't matter.
Vernacular. So you're suggesting that we don't know why she was no rep. Andrew's saying it's because possibly she didn't stand up all the way, in the point of contention being the knees. What did you say, JR?
Yeah, I mean, from the front view, it's kind of hard to tell where exactly the elbows are, but same deal, just not standing.
Why? Where should her elbows have been? You're saying that maybe the bar wasn't up on her shoulders?
No, I'm saying that maybe she was already starting the regrip as her hips were opening, and that maybe she was like the same thing that everyone else does to regain their hook grip. But I thought it was way too close to call, and I thought the way that she handled it by just giving him a quick stare, finishing the complex, and then she just turned and sat on her bar and didn't even say anything to the judge. Like that's
she was badass for that.
That's a veteran.
She gave her a look like, what the fuck? Like what?
Yeah.
So someone in there said Justin loves the shoulder launch, and that's what I'm talking about. If you watch Medeiros' lifts, he's launching.
And what's wrong with the shoulder launch?
I mean, almost everybody does that at a heavy load. It's
and that's the thing. It's like if you bring up they have the capacity to do the movements. When Tia's standing there with the bar on her shoulders for what appeared to be a full second before she descends the bar, if you're talking about it shows the capacity, the bar was sitting there, and if everyone else is getting away with the shoulder launch, that wasn't a big deal. And this is why everyone should not be allowed to shoulder launch if you're also going to be calling Tia for that slight knee bend, which is what I think they called her for. They have to be holding everyone to the same level.
Why is the shoulder launch? The shoulder launch isn't an issue, and a knee bend is an issue. The shoulder launch is basically you catch it here and it bounces up for a second, right?
It's the showing control at the top of the clean. And I guess if you are shoulder launching, it shows that you could have possibly had control, but with her standing there, I guess you could have also said she could have possibly had control. And when you're saying these things, you're bringing in like the arbitrary, like, well, I guess they had control in both instances, and in which case neither of them did have control.
Right.
There's my circle of thoughts.
Well, until they came out, I wasn't enjoying it. I will tell you that. But that was I was like that before at the CrossFit Games. I just remember feel like when the early heats were going, that was time to get new batteries for your camera, get coffee, and maybe do some interviews.
I agree. They were rather boring. It's like the early events and regionals in, what was it, 2014, 15, where they had the field up to 50 or 60 people. and everyone was just there to go watch their brother or sister or best friend compete, and then nobody was there until they really got into the final 10 people. And then they cut the field down because they wanted to make it more entertaining. That's at least what I thought they did it for. They combined the regions to get like the top 20 from each region, so they'd be more competitive across.
Yeah, or to make more money is what it seemed like, right? And I don't blame them. It has to be an event. I'm not hating on that. That's not a dig. I love people making money. Tia Claire Toomey, 400 points.
Yeah, I know we'll probably get to it. But that performance on the interval workout was so nasty. That was awesome.
Crazy.
I just made a post about that.
Absolutely crazy. This girl, Georgia Pryor. Oh, no wonder I couldn't find her on Instagram. Usually I would say this about the men. They look like I don't know why she is in. Oh, I had it organized wrong. All right, that makes sense. We'll get to her in a second. Tia Claire Toomey, 400 points. First. Cara Saunders, second, fifth, second, third. And Ellie Turner, who was also pretty freakish today. Is this the way it's going to stay, right? We're not going to see any change here.
You might see Ellie or Jamie pop in there, depending.
And they only take 3, right?
It's only 4 points. Yeah.
So Ellie and Jamie are sweating it.
And I wouldn't say Madeline Sturt's out either. It just kind of depends on how those last 2 shake out.
Okay, and that was an amazing performance. Madeline Sturt's lift at 215. That's not a big girl.
No.
I don't know. Well, I don't know what that plays
she's actually gotten
to,
stronger as well, hasn't she? She didn't used to be that strong.
I think we're going to see a lot more movement than you think. Remember, workout 5 is looming, and that's the 45 strict deficit. You just never know what's going to happen on a workout like that.
Good call.
So you're saying that basically one of these top dogs, probably not Tia, but we could see Cara, Ellie, or Jamie. This something weird happened.
I think Cara's got too much of a cushion at this point. She's got a 32 point with two events left cushion, but possibly 5. You see, there's an 18-point drop off between 5th and 6th. So I would say 3 through 5, you're still probably going to see some movement.
Like a 23rd place finish here could really screw someone up.
If anyone,
workout 6 there, the deadlift one. What was workout 6 there?
Yeah, 1K row, 100 dubs, 10 deadlift. I think their weight
Correct.
is. I'm not sure what. Maybe I'll have to look. The men's 405, and sometimes it depends if people are choosing to do what they should do and make the female weight right, or use the old 2002.
So that means that the play is really going to be on the Husafel bag carry strongman Diane. You're right, because that one's rather straightforward.
I also noticed the difference in body shapes between the heats. They don't even look. The first heat of women don't look like CrossFitters.
That deadlift
What do you
load
mean?
275 is going to be that deadlift load.
They look like power lifters. The first heat of women look like power lifters. They don't look. They don't look like CrossFitters. It's a totally different physique. You don't see it as much in the men, but in the women's heats, the women are way more stout in the first heat. I think I'd love for someone like Tyler to do a comparison on that, like a body composition look or something. You didn't notice that?
Is that his thing? Does he make body composition comparisons?
No.
I thought
He doesn't. But he's just into like numbers and stats. And I would just be curious. I'd be curious to see like all sorts of breakdowns in heats, where they're from, their age, what their max lifts are. They just look. All those people look like that they came from some sort of lifting background, and they've squeaked into CrossFit, and they're starting to get into CrossFit, and that's sort of where you enter. During that, I checked the number of views. There were 10,000 views while the women were lifting, which is pretty amazing, because all of North America was asleep.
That's because that venue by far looks like the
loaded
most to compete in. I mean, this is going to go down probably a big rabbit hole. I don't know how you feel about this, but they're talking about expanding the games internationally. Why wouldn't you try to go to Australia? I mean, I know that's crazy travel for everyone else, but as far as the excitement and packing out stadiums and the energy, I mean, they got the torches going. They announce people.
The torches are sweet.
They announce people
Torches
when
are
they come
sweet.
out like like a wrestling thing, like in lane 2, and they say the athlete's name and they play music for a second while they run out. It's not like here come the Heat 3 women and then they all run out. You know what I mean? It's a little bit different.
I thought I'm glad you guys like the torches. I thought and all that stuff. I thought that was I was just a cheese dick, just an old dude. I really or that was like the little kid in me. I really like the torches too.
Oh,
I
hell
want
no.
to
That
show
was
you.
sweet.
I want to show you one more thing too. And I don't know what time this video was taken, but speaking of, this is at this is at Syndicate. This is Vendor Village and Syndicate. So it looks like the village isn't open yet, but
No, it's open.
you think it's open?
No, I'm kidding. It's just I
Oh,
was like,
okay.
it's that dead kind of joke, you know.
Yeah. So it's not open yet. So it's a little bit of an unfair, but this is the view of the Vendor Village.
There was a lot of action out there yesterday.
There was okay
throughout the evening, but remember it's Friday and there's a lot of people that were still working. So I expect today the crowd to be a lot bigger.
Okay, so that might be a mischaracterization.
What's in that white tent?
Right.
Any idea?
I think that was where they're doing like CrossFit Kids class type stuff.
Yeah,
that's
okay.
Cool. So I wanted to mention that Maddie Sturt did 195, 205, 215. We're impressed by that, right? Her size, her time in the sport, the fact that she's getting stronger.
Yeah, correct. She is getting strong. I compare her to the Haley Adams thing. It's like why is Haley Adams getting stronger? We were talking about that yesterday. Why is she not getting stronger the same way Maddie Sturt's improving upon her strength? And maybe she hasn't improved as much as I think, but from what I know, I think she has gotten stronger. That being Maddie Sturt. And Haley Adams appears to be hitting the same lifts kind of year after year, around like the 185-ish snatch and upwards of a 205, 215 clean and jerk, right around there for most things.
This is something too. Like I know we keep coming back to the need for maybe not all 6 standardized workouts, but at least having the 2 that are going to be mandated be done on the same day, because what we're talking about would be awesome if we can do a cross comparison with the lift among all 3 of the week 1 semis, and we can actually see out of that field where these people are ranking comparatively. Because you could say something like this, right? For the men in Torian, only 3 males hit 325 or more on the complex. At Syndicate, 10 did.
Wow.
Well, it's really easy. Well, it's really easy to say, well, yeah, the Syndicate guys are just stronger. Maybe, but the Torian men had to do the chipper and had to do another event before, whereas Syndicate started there. So you can't even really compare it at that point.
It's like the year at the CrossFit Games where nobody could clean and jerk 315, but everyone forgets that they did Murph in the entire weekend before that clean and jerk event. I remember watching Dan Bailey not be able to do 305. Like, what the fuck is going on? And then it's like, oh, yeah, I guess they did have the entire weekend before that. So you're right. It makes a huge difference where that event is at in the weekend.
And do you think the value there is that it makes it a more enjoyable sport to watch for the fans and at no cost to the athletes and choosing the correct one? It's a win-win for everyone.
A two-sided coin because you got Ben Smith who's saying in his podcast that he didn't think that it was smart to have that event at the beginning of the weekend, setting them up to be trashed after having done like a high volume of squats, which I don't know if I agree with, but that was his opinion. And I guess it's holding some validity. And then also your side, which is, are they going to be lifting as much at the point at which they're lifting it?
Well, all it would require is to put them all at the same time. Hey, this has to be event 1 or this has to be event 10.
It's idiot proof if you do that.
But at that point, you're only taking care of the one event. And if you get to program the rest of the competition around it, every event preceding that one is going to be different. So, like for Syndicate, that sled workout was just gnarly. I mean, that was a beat down for a lot of them. Were hurting, laying on the ground after that. Well,
can we not call that a sled workout?
That's why I was laughing.
I
didn't see a sled. I saw a wheelbarrow.
So they do the complex and they do that workout, which was very aggressive, lots of legs. And then this morning they start out with the 150 wall ball workout. So whether you agree with Ben or not, to his point, you've got very, very dense leg fatigue workouts starting the weekend. They start with the legless today, and then they do that wall ball workout second. But regardless of where they tell you have to do the lift, all the other workouts are going to be different that come after it.
Is this accurate? Did Tia flip off the Torian Pro programmer? I can't believe that.
I didn't see this.
Here's why I can't believe it. In her interviews, she checks every box.
What do you mean?
that comment, I bet you that comment was like maybe backstage or when she got there, she said, I'm going to do this in 2. You know that, right? And the guy was like, you're not doing it in 2 intervals. You're not doing that.
Oh,
And she did it. And it was almost like a flex on him. Maybe that would be cool.
good. Yeah, I like that. Here's what she did. When they interviewed her, they basically they asked her about her programming. She gave a nod to Sean. Sean. She gave a nod to Shane. Shane Orr. When she talked about like why do you do this? She gave a nod to the crowd, and she said, "Well, how did you know you were going to do it in 2?" And she goes, "No, but when you're with these competitors, they bring the best out of you." She just went through. It was like yes, 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 and then she even finished it. Let's see. A nod to Shane, nod to her competitors, nod to the crowd, and then she dropped a couple CrossFit mantras. She said, when you're out there, you need to embrace the suck. I mean, it was like someone just pulled the string on the Woody doll, and it just did its thing. I just
Chris
remember her
Weidman
never
goes.
being like that. I remember her just being shy, and now she just gets up there and she's all poised and she just fires it all off. She's a veteran. She's different. She does everything.
See Chris
perfect.
Weidman? It's just like calling somebody a cunt. Yeah, that she missed a box, an Australian
Right.
box.
Right.
That's the
In
Australian
Australia,
box.
if she didn't say that, then it wasn't complete. Ellie Turner, 230. What if Ellie, and we'll talk about this a couple times throughout, what if Ellie gets 5% better? Is she the greatest CrossFitter alive? What if everything she
5%?
does 5% better?
I guess she'd be about the level of Cara.
And
We're
she's
looking at the
24.
weekend so far.
You have to. So Tia is 28. Cara Saunders is 32. And Jamie Simmons is 31. And mashed in there is the little girl, Ellie Turner. I would have to guess she has the greatest room for improvement. It looks like we might be staring at the next best thing.
This side of Mel Bryan, or are you talking Australia specific?
Dude, I mean, she's there with Tia. There's no better comparison, right?
Yeah, remember though, these are a handful of events against a field that isn't nearly as deep as even one that would be at the games. So I think if there is a place where you mess up, I mean, I think we saw it at Wadapalooza, right? There was one workout that she was crushing it all weekend. There was one workout that didn't go too well, and then all of a sudden, like comparatively to the field that was relatively deep, but not a games field by any means, you take a big hit.
Right. Okay. So I'm getting excited too quickly. She has more to prove.
It's just like the small fish, small pond versus medium fish, big pond argument. She's kind of standing out against Australia, and I think you could probably better make this argument come games time. But yeah, so far she's doing real well. She's in third. I mean, she's up against 2 of the potentially fittest women on earth.
A man, I can't remember which one. In the clean complex, is that what you call that?
Sure.
He was doing 250.
Are you saying you could do that?
No, what I'm saying is he weak as a bird, or is Tia just fucking unreal?
I wouldn't say weak as a
Tia
bird,
had 250
but for
on
the
there.
competition, that's not very good at this level of competition.
Just say it, Hiller. Don't try to be nice.
It's not good.
There were some guys out there who were weak.
Now, comparatively to like Syndicate, I think the lowest weight lifted there was 285, 275. So yeah, comparatively, it's not great.
No, it's not good at all. I mean, I put out a video today, and it was talking about, again, I like talking about Hunter McIntyre all the time for some reason. But
me too.
If you were to walk into an affiliate, you would be able to find somebody likely who could hit this complex at 250. I mean, over the course of 15,000 affiliates, however. Hey,
what's up, guys?
Friend.
Finally, someone to look at. Oh, you're here, Brian.
That's me. JR is very handsome.
Brian, you look like you got some sun. No, you're in Europe. They don't have a sun. They don't have the sun there.
No sun in the venue.
Brian is at the Lowlands. Brian, what city, what country is that?
Amsterdam, Netherlands. I got probably 30 minutes max.
Okay. Let's go over there and let's talk about those events. You guys okay putting this lifting event on hold while we got Brian here
For
to
sure.
talk about the Lowlands?
Oh, yeah.
refresh me. This morning we saw at the Lowlands. Is that the 2-2? What was that
There's
one?
a 27, 21, 15, 9.
Yeah, and is that the 2-2-2-3 thing that
It was weird. They
Something
had
like
2.5
that.
minutes, then 2 minutes, then 1.5 minutes, then 1 minute. So with the rest interval, it ended up being a 10-minute workout.
7 minutes of work. Yeah.
and then sorry, Brian, I'm catching up on my notes. And who won that over there? That was
Well, there are still some open scoring disputes, but the current or unofficial winners were Luca Vuniak out of Heat 2 for the men, and Lucy Campbell from the UK for the women.
okay. Now I see where we're at in my notes. They both look great. There was something that Chase and Mads were pointing out that I thought was fascinating. In the first two rounds, or I don't know what you call them, the first two intervals, Lucy was not using all the time. She was stopping with 1 or 2 seconds while she was jumping over the box and losing reps. And then on the final round, Gabby
I don't think she was
losing
reps. I just think she couldn't get another good rep in with the time remaining.
Right. Sorry, that's what I meant. And from watching, why were they doing that? And is that a huge mistake? Because actually, Gabby did that also in the final interval. It looked like she had time to jump back over.
Yeah, I think it's just a choice probably for each athlete how they feel in the moment, if they have the energy to get down and up and over the box in time, or if they wanted to risk it. So, I saw kind of a lot of athletes that would go down for the bottom part of the burpee and realize they're not going to have time, and then just lay there for a few seconds. And they're still wasting the energy pushing themselves back up off the floor.
And that workout was defined by just single reps.
Oh yeah, it was very close and very chaotic. Like for example, Oyana Moya finished with 49 reps on her scorecard. Lucy Campbell had 50, but Oyana Moya is disputing that she actually did 51 reps, which would obviously jump her into first place. So it's 1 or 2 reps could make 2 to 3 spots difference on a leaderboard very easily.
Did the same thing happen with what's the guy's name? Upanix? Am I pronouncing his name right? Upanix?
He was frustrated. Yeah, he was frustrated in the first round because on the last dumbbell thruster rep, she gave him a no rep, but she didn't tell him right away. So he'd already put his dumbbells down and moved forward. He wasn't upset about the no rep. He was upset about the timing in which she told him, because it cost him 5 seconds, where he could have just done 1 more rep and he would have probably got 1 more burpee. And he ended up being like 1 burpee behind Lazar for second in that overall in that workout.
Do you want to say something, Andrew, before I jump in?
No, I just didn't know it was that pivotal.
Are 5 girls going from Lowland? 5 women?
Yeah.
Okay, and then also 5 from Syndicate.
Yep.
Okay, I think there was in one of the articles this morning in the Morning Chalk Up, they said something that Scott Panchek was in 4th place and 4 points out from qualifying. So I think that someone just hit the number 4 twice. It is 5. The only place it's 3 is Torian. Is that correct, Brian?
Yes.
Okay. That we had some debate I don't know if you can see the screen. We were having some debate yesterday, and I was saying the most exciting person to watch now is Gabby Magawa, because she took that 17th and that she was going to have a perfect day to make it. And those guys told me I was wrong, and it looks like they were right and I was wrong. That 5th place was enough for her to get into 5th. Do you think she's in it now to win it, and we'll see her go to the CrossFit Games?
Yeah, I just talked to her and her coach after the last event. They executed the plan for event 1 to maximize her potential with that movement. It's probably her worst movement in CrossFit. And unlike some other women who blew up in rounds 8 and 9, their plan was to make sure that wouldn't happen. So I think a 16th there is the best she could have done in this field. And she'll probably have all top 5 finishes the rest of the way and be no sweat going to the games.
Were they confident with a 17th place finish that they could still go, or were they scared shitless?
I think a lot of people are just overreacting after a first event or 2. Like the same thing's happening at Syndicate with the women, right? So Haley and Christy didn't do great on the lifting event, but they still have 5 more events, and everyone knows that they're going to do well on a majority of the rest of them. The only question is, are the girls who did well on the lifting event better than we think or know on the rest of the events relative to the perennial games contenders? But just don't. Basically the storyline is like, don't panic after day 1. Sometimes your worst workout is on day 1, and that's 50% of the score at that moment. But there's still, 4 more workouts to come.
No, don't listen to Brian. Definitely panic. It makes it more enjoyable to watch.
It looks like she's already in third, that being Gabby.
Yes, I did get a strike last night. I get my first strike on my YouTube account for stealing the feed from CrossFit. We won't be doing that again. Did they get more rest at the Torian Pro between the intervals than at Lowlands?
Yeah, that was 2 minutes on, 2 minutes off.
Okay.
Different workouts. Those were the standardized ones.
Brian, did you see that? Did you see what happened at the Torian? Did you watch that workout?
I was able to watch workouts 1 and 2. I have not been able to watch 3 and 4 yet.
Okay, that I don't think I watched. Which one was the interval one? Was that
4?
4. That was probably the. I mean, I know it's the freshest in my mind, but I think that was the most impressive performance I've ever seen by any CrossFitter. Seeing how fast those women were going, it actually looked like the camera was sped up. Like if anyone ever questions,
about a singular athlete or the group of
all
athletes?
of them, the entire field, Ellie, Jamie, Cara, Tia, the way they were cycling that bar, how fast they came off the bike, those pull-ups. I mean, it was it looked sped up. It didn't even look real.
I know, but what you're seeing there is possibly 4 of the 10 fittest women on earth competing side by side, and so they're going to push each other. The obviously sad part is that not all 4 of them can qualify this weekend.
Did you guys watch it? Did you watch it, JR? Or did you watch it, Andrew?
I did, yeah.
Yeah.
This is something me and Brian have discussed, and it doesn't take anything away from those women because they're all incredible, and he's right. They definitely deserve more game spots. But it brings up another conversation when you look at the workout and how it's constructed comparatively. The women are so capable and so good. I mean, I watched women at the syndicate hold paces on the Echo bike for the first 30 calories that guys couldn't hold. And when you have them do 10 calories comparatively to 15, that's big. And when they're using 75 pounds comparatively to 105, that just shouldn't be the comparison anymore, in my opinion. So they're cycling.
Are you saying
it should be a little
they should have
heavier.
had heavier barbells and more calories?
I think it should have been 12. I think it should have been 12 and 85, or at least 80 pounds.
I agree with those numbers exactly. And I think in general right now, I mean, that there needs to be a really big overhaul in terms of evaluation of when you're going to make men and women do the same thing compared to different things, and your objective in doing so based on the time caps or what you want the eventual performances to be. Because, you know, in the Lagos rope climb workout, everyone's seeing it. The men didn't need a time cap of more than 5 minutes, but the women needed probably 8 minutes. And anything beyond that, no one wants to watch it anyway.
Brian, I know you didn't see the workout, but I want to push back on what JR is saying. I'd like to hear what Andrew thinks too. Here's why I think that Torian workout was perfect. One, if anyone were ever to talk shit about CrossFitters and say, no, I know someone who's fitter, I'd show them that. I'd be like,
then they would knock your shit off for talking about the kipping pull-ups.
Whatever. That capacity was fucking nuts. But don't
agree.
you love it that only one person squeaked through in 2 rounds? Didn't that just tell you that the programming and the weight were perfect? How are you and Brian saying it should have been a little heavier? Wasn't it cool that Tia slipped out away from the pack?
Yeah, no. As a workout, it doesn't matter what we think comparatively to men and women because they're not competing against each other. So comparatively, they're all doing the same workout. It was, you know, she showed what we all thought she could show. Whether she finished it, you know, with 1 rep left in the 3rd interval, or she finished it in 2, which is what happened, she still showed that it was an awesome event. I mean, me and Brian have talked about this too. You know, it's the juxtaposition between the interval style workout for Lowlands versus Torian, and what Taylor said yesterday about having one of them being time priority and one being task priority, how much more fun it can be to watch when you see numbers on the floor and you see him advancing. You just get excited and you're like, she just stepped forward. Oh no, she just stepped forward too. Whereas the only thing we could really see was a box being flipped and we didn't have any numbers. Unless you could watch one athlete and count the reps, it was really hard to tell who was winning and who wasn't.
Brian, how was it watching that AMRAP over there? How was it watching the AMRAP? Because watching it on the stream was very you couldn't tell what the hell was going on. You didn't know where anyone was.
Yeah, no, it was chaotic. I think that the floor layouts at the Lowlands could have been better. So the handstand walking, they had an orange line that was their marker, but there were like 5 red lines
Whew.
on the floor. And when
Yeah,
you're
that was
upside down, it's
confusing.
very confusing. And there were some athletes that thought they'd finished and came down, and they were one line. They were on the red line, not the orange line. And when you're upside down, you can't really blame the athletes. So that could have been better. They should have numbers on the floor for that type of stuff. What we were doing is just trying to feed Mads and Chase the top 2. We were doing exactly what I was talking about. We were counting 2 specific athletes that were in the lead, trying to give Mads and Chase the top 2 scores so that they could update you guys back home after each interval. But in the flow of it, it was impossible.
Bruce Wayne here is saying that Tia isn't even peaking. I'm not sure if he's referencing her year or her career. Do you have
Probably
thoughts on
both.
that, Jay? Both? You don't think she's peaking either?
Probably
It
not
doesn't look
for
like
the
she's
year
gotten.
yet. No.
Yeah, well, definitely not for the year, and it seems as if she's getting even better year after year. So that's why I say both. I think he's onto it.
Sevan, I want to go back to this other thing you were saying, though. So, for example, Mike Halpin did an analysis that compared Torian women's and Torian men's event 1, and he showed that Tia beat all the men. What I would say is Tia was better than the men on the second set of ring muscle-ups. She did them unbroken. But there were 3 barbell weights in that workout, and if the relative weights of the barbells are not the same, then the comparison is irrelevant. If it was just the same number of reps of a gymnastics movement with a monostructural, you can make a 1-to-1 comparison because you're doing the same movements and the same work. But once the barbells are into play, any comparisons between men and women go out the window. And a lot of times people like to compare that because it is often the case that the women's scores are just as impressive relative to the men. But the relative difficulty for women to move historically similar barbell weights like 95, 135 or 65, 95 is clearly changing, and the programmers need to keep up with that change.
Well, what are you saying the weight should have been on those barbells for the females? Maybe like an extra 5 kilos?
I'm not sure, but I would say that, with the Tia's muscle-ups were impressive nonetheless. But looking at the rest of the scores there and knowing that women in general are worse at muscle-ups than men, and that their times were all there kind of jumbled together, I would say the women, pretty clearly had a relatively easier time with the barbell than the guys.
Let me ask you this question that we started the show off with. Then there was some men who were in the complex using 250, 260, 265, but the lowest I saw was 250. And we saw Tia was about to go for a 250 attempt, and at the last minute scrambled and went down to 240 or 245. Are you saying that's not because that guy was too weak for the field, or it shows that the men's field doesn't have depth and just that the women are getting super strong? Because I was like, wow, the men's field isn't showing a lot of depth, but maybe you're suggesting just the women are just catching them.
No, I mean, the range of the weights on the men's field is extreme. It's 100 pounds.
Right.
So, and 100 pounds from the top woman to the top man is basically appropriate. Now you're looking at about a 60, 70, percent range, which is where the weights we would expect them to be. So that, it's just, there's some guys in that field that aren't strong enough yet. That's okay.
Any doubt that Tia's gonna if everything goes to plan? Is there anyone you're seeing who could challenge Tia at the CrossFit Games? Is there any hope anywhere?
No.
JR?
That's no across the board.
JR?
No.
I will say that 2 through 10 on the women's side of the CrossFit Games is going to be extremely compelling.
Another thing I brought up earlier is that Ellie Turner, 24, by far the youngest, 4 years younger than Tia Claire, who's 28. What if Ellie gets 5% better? I know that's huge. Is she the next Tia?
Well, it just depends. If Tia retires after this year, then there's going to be 9 or 10 or women or so that feel like they have a chance to win. And I would say that they're probably all justified to feel that way.
Lazar, Mr. Jukic.
Oh, my God. Dude, I talked to him last night. He said you reached out to him. They'll catch up with you after the weekend, and they want to, and you should definitely do it. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah. Oh, shit. My computer froze.
We can hear you.
I know. I just can't. Oh, okay. Here we go. How much better is he than last year? What are you seeing when you see him perform out there?
let's see what happens tonight. He's, his biggest hole is his strength. He's been working on it all year. He's looked really good in terms of like confidence, execution, like confidence in his plan and then executing that on the floor. I would say his overall body awareness and control is improved. He wasn't sure how he'd do on that last workout. I think he overperformed what he thought relative to the field, which is a good testament to his development. So I think he's definitely better. But when you're talking about trying to move up within the top 10 at the games field, and you know that there's another 10 guys behind that want your spot, you can't afford to have the big knock. And there will be a strength test or, somewhere between 1 or 4 tests at the games that are dependent on top end strength. So if he shows some good strength tonight, I'll feel that much better about his chances to improve once we get to the games.
I think it was in the final event last year that Luka Jukic that lost his placement in the games, and now he's sitting in second place. He has 176 points and fifth place.
He made it to the games, and if you're talking about he got cut from that event, his hamstring was injured on that running toes to bar event, so he couldn't perform at the level he needed to try to make the top 20.
He did make the games last year?
Yeah, he got cut after event 10.
Oh, okay. My bad. Okay, so he's going again this year. So basically what we're looking at is fifth place is between
I mean, it's not a guarantee, but things are looking very good for him so far.
Very good.
Yeah. And I'm not surprised by that. I mean, I picked him to finish third here behind BK and Lazar. He's training with the Misfit coaches. He's chosen to go his own path from his brother. And those guys are always honest with me when I ask him, and they said he is much better than he was last year, and it seems like that is the case.
We have Sarah Sigmundsdottir sitting in seventh place with 216 points. Fifth place has 224 points. That's Gabriella Magawa. But Sarah's finishes are 10th, 8th, and 6th. And I know they're all different workouts, but that's a good sign, right? What do you think her chances are of making it?
Look at the finishes of the girls ahead of her.
Well, fourth place has a 13th place finish, which is worse than, and fifth place has a 17th place finish.
Third place has a 10th.
But they're balancing them out with the first and the first. If you finish all the workouts between 6th and 10th in the women's field, you're not going to make the games. Not at this event. The women are too good. This is the best women's field in all of semifinals.
I know every workout is different, but you have someone like Karen Freyova who has a 1st, 6th, and 13th. She's basically she's just sliding down the slope, right? That's got to be psychologically do something to her. But Sarah is getting better, 10, 8, 6. You think that plays a role?
Possibly, but I think that the women are also pretty well aware of which workouts are going to be their best and worst workouts here. Karen should do well on the lifting. She should do extremely well on the final workout. I think she can, as long as she can hold like an 8th place on the Devil's Press tomorrow, that she'll make the games just fine. Sarah needs to have one workout where she places in the top 3. That's what I'm saying, basically.
Do you think that could beat the lift or no, comparatively to this field?
I don't think she'll finish in the top 3 in the lift. No.
Okay.
Are you smelling weed in the venue?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I feel like I'm in your office.
Incredible.
I mean, Amsterdam is the home. It's the original spot where weed was legal. It's where everyone went after they graduated from college. Seriously, do you smell any weed there? Do you see people like walking around high on mushrooms?
I haven't seen a dispensary. I haven't even been looking. I haven't seen a dispensary. I haven't seen anyone smoking weed on the streets. People smoking cigarettes. People are drinking beer,
but not clouds of wafting marijuana.
No, I don't. I don't feel like I'm in Boulder. No.
Right. Brian, the crowd at Torian, it looks full, and the pictures we've seen at Lowlands look full. Is that an accurate depiction that the seats are pretty darn full?
Yeah, I took a look around this afternoon. There's 3,000 seats surrounding the main floor for the semifinals, and there wasn't an empty one earlier today. And I expect they'll be full again tonight for the lifting.
No shit.
Yeah, but I do know that it's kind of interesting. Torian announced that they sold out a couple of weeks before the event. The majority of Lowlands ticket sales happened in the last week. So the timing of when they buy the tickets might be different, but the seats are full at both places. How is it over at Syndicate?
Bad.
It looked pretty sparse yesterday, but like I said, they started competition relatively early in the afternoon. So I'll be interested to see what it's like over there today.
Yeah, it wasn't as full here yesterday as it was today. So hopefully at least on Saturday, Sunday they'll have. Don't people know that Jason Hopper's there?
Or Medeiros or Froning or any of them. No one knows.
I'm just giving Hopper some love.
Okay,
No, it's an
this
interesting
must
point too
be.
to talk about though. Like as a fan, right? If you're just a fan of the sport and you live in that area, or let's say you live within 2 hours, you've got to make a choice. Do you go next weekend to MAC or do you go this weekend to Syndicate? Based on star power, you would think that they would be here this weekend. But it's interesting that may take away from the crowds of both events.
I mean, you have the best team, the best man, and the best woman from the games last year at this event. If they can't fill the seats there, then there's another problem there.
And I don't know if Rich Froning fell under that blanket, but they got Rich Froning too.
That would be the best team, yes.
Best team, okay. Did you see any of Crouch's performances?
I told you, I saw event 1 and 2. Jake, I picked him to win. I picked him to win out there, and that was probably the pick I got the most shit for of everyone. And I think he's still in first by a few points over Ricky. But I did say it would probably be close between those two. They're tied? Yeah, I think that when it comes to a semifinal, it's a different kind of competition in the games that Jay can compete with Ricky. When we get to the games, I can promise you if they both make it that my projections will show Ricky ahead of Jay, because in the more athletic, more outdoor, longer, more diverse, more workout style, I think Ricky will prove his overall fitness is better. But in 6 events in an indoor setting like this, Jay Crouch is very, very good.
He's a savage. He's
kind of an unassuming guy, but he's very, very dangerous out there.
When you talk about expanding the number of women who come, or the number of athletes who come from Australia, would you expand it for the men and the women?
Yeah, at this point I would. I thought you were going to ask me where do you get those spots from. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's pretty clear. On the women's side, we already said there are at least 4 and possibly 5 women there in the field this weekend who have a chance to make the top 20 at the games if they were competing there. And I'm telling you that there's still a couple young girls and a couple women who chose to compete on teams that could be relevant if 5 spots were available. In the meantime, on the men's side, Jay, Ricky, Baden Brown, and Royce Dunn at a bare minimum, we know that they can finish in the top 20 at the games. And obviously everyone's learning right now that Bailey Martin is just as good as those guys. So they each have at least 4 or 5 athletes that are fit enough to be relevant at the games this year. And the performances of the athletes who made it last year, to me, warranted the opportunity for them to have a 4th spot this year. So if it were up to me, based on the performance, I would have given Australia 4 spots this year for both the men and the women.
But do you think you would have to raise both? You couldn't just raise the women, or you couldn't? No.
And I think that this is like one of those things that I'm talking about. And of course, CrossFit's known for being very equal in all of its application of things between men and women. But you're still going to give 40 spots at the games to the men and 40 spots at the women. But just because the American men are still the most dominant continent and the American women are not, doesn't mean they have to have the same number of spots. And you could have 4 semifinals in North America and give 5 spots to the guys at each and give 4 spots to the women at each. And the 4 spots that you take from the women, 2 of them should go to Europe, 1 of them should go to Australia, and one of them is still, I think, up for debate and ways you could distribute that. But the end result would be that you'd have a better overall caliber of women at the games. Because the 4th best person in Australia and the 6th best person on the women's side at both of the semifinals here are better than all of the 5th place finishing women in North America.
Wow.
I think.
Wow. Go ahead, Hiller.
What? No, I agree.
No?
I think that there should totally be more spots over there. And it's only because of the men's side, arguably just as much as the female side, just looking over there. I mean, you've got James Newberry is really not in the type of shape he's been in the past. But then you've also got Matt McLeod, who is one of those top 10. He beat all the cuts in the year where there were the cuts. Baden Brown. I think that the men deserve just as many spots.
Wait. Hiller, Matt McLeod was the beneficiary of a terrible scoring system. He did
Which one? Oh.
Wow. If you're a Matt McLeod fan, now's the time to go to the bathroom. Okay,
That's
go ahead, Ryan.
2019, yeah.
No,
Matt McLeod's getting torn out.
This is not Matt's fault at all. This is the games team's fault. the scoring was weighted more heavily towards workouts 4, 5, and 6 if you made it there than workouts 1, 2, and 3. He did 3 top 10 finishes on 4, 5, and 6, and 3 outside 35 finishes on workouts 1, 2, and 3. There are athletes that did good performances on workouts 1, 2, 3, and not 4, 5, 6, and they missed the cut because the scoring was unequally distributed across those 6 workouts.
You've been waiting to let that one rip for a couple of years, huh?
No, I've talked about it before.
Oh, okay.
I think that was back when I was doing Numbers Games episode with Tommy and Sean that we went into that. But that was behind the Patreon, and you weren't around yet to expose them, so no one knows about it.
Brian's out to start fights. He woke up, chose violence.
I want to point out this lady here. I did not see this, but this was reported to me. This is Stevie Dillinger. Do you guys know who this is?
I know who Stevie is, and Brian should, because she was just at my gym 3 weeks ago and won our competition. That team, CrossFit CLT, they just won Crash Crescendo a few weeks ago at my gym.
So are they competing this weekend or next weekend, JR?
This weekend at Syndicate.
Yeah, I think I pegged them for like a just missing spot. How are they doing?
They're doing pretty good. They did really well on the lift. That went really well for them yesterday.
She was what's reported to me is that this lady was breastfeeding, put the baby down, ran out onto the floor and did a 190-pound snatch.
She's savage.
This is the news that must be reported.
This is nuts. I mean, this is she's growing another human being, and she's picking Andrew Hiller up and throwing him over her head like it's nothing with a smile. And then she drops him. No respect. Look at this is savage. It is truly crazy.
I lost 5. I'm at 191 this morning. Again, gotta weigh myself every morning.
Look, it's such an amazing inspiration to others. Mom Strong. I mean, this is the thing. This is the thing when people say that they sacrifice or they do this or this. No, this is just a woman living her life. There's no sacrifice. This is all. All the pieces coming together in her life just perfectly. Say that again, Brian.
I had a conversation with Phil Hesketh yesterday, and obviously Mia's competing over here. And after she came back, she obviously had a kid, and she came back and she was ready to start training again. And they decided that only one of the two of them with the kid could put in the training required to compete at this level. And similarly to the decision that Annie and Frederick make, they went with the woman. And so, Phil has backed off from being trying to compete there.
Who is that? Do you guys know who that is?
Nobody knows. Just
oh, say that again about Phil Hesketh. I can still see him. I don't know who it is.
Just to say that it's not just the women that are, making sacrifices, but there has to be someone to support them doing that. And so we've seen it from Tara. We've seen it from Annie.
Yes, thank you. Enough of this love for the women. Their husbands deserve the credit. You're right.
I mean, the athletes often talk about how they have to have a team supporting them, but in particular, when you also have a kid and you want to compete at this level, that person needs to probably be, someone at home.
Okay, who is this dude? Hey, what's up, dude? How did you get this link? What are you doing?
Sevy, you sent me the link.
Who is this?
Greg.
Oh, Greg. Good.
Yeah.
Shit. Well, I couldn't even recognize you. You're a anyone can come on the show. Greg, you're over at the Syndicate?
I am.
And how's it going over there?
Much better turnout today than yesterday. Fans are starting to roll in, look excited to be here. Mayhem just dominated the team competition for today. The ladies are about to start with the legless program, but again, you guys have more people on than you need, so I'll pop out. But
let me ask you one question before you jump out. What are you hearing from people there? Are they coming next week? Do you feel like most of the people there, because we're kind of debating this, which week would you choose? And I keep thinking in my head, I would just go to both. What are you going to both? And what do you think most people are doing?
I'm not going to both. I came to see Mayhem. I talked to the Torque Take tent. They're leaving their material here. I talked to the people who put the flooring down. They're leaving everything here. So the vendors are leaving their stuff here. I don't see people staying here 2 days in a row.
Awesome. Okay. Hey, Greg, thank you so much. You the man for calling in. I apologize I didn't recognize you.
All good. Have a great day. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Thank you.
God, I love the show. Damn, Chase's
Sevan.
hair looks good. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah. I have to go in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Rifle the questions at him. Hit him.
I'm out of questions. Anything that you've seen so far this week where you're like, okay, that was a bad call, I want to change it to this. What are some changes you'd like to make in some of your predictions, your calls, your thoughts? Anything standing out?
No, actually, I think the top 9 women I projected here are in the top 9 right now, just in a different order. I think the top 5 men I picked 2 of the games are currently in the top 5. However, I think that for at least 3 of them, both the Jukic's and Uldis Upaneks, that the upcoming lifting event is going to be their worst event. So it's just going to be a matter of how much that impacts them relative to some of the guys in 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, there was one guy, Fabian Benito, who I thought would have an outside chance to make the games. Completely fucked up workout 1 yesterday. Took dead last in the field and eliminated himself from contention immediately. So that was the one that was just, I mean.
No shit. How did he do that?
Yeah, he finished
How do you
a
take
minute
dead
behind
last?
everyone else. So he
What do
either
you do?
just, I didn't see what happened. I mean, it was so fast. He either just started getting no reps on rope climbs or his grip went. But
Interesting.
he's the one guy on the leaderboard here that I would say is better than his ranking right now is showing. But that's the nature of it. And that's the whole conversation with everyone I had here prior to Friday morning was you can't have an execution error in the fields anymore. It's too competitive. It's too tight. And that was his mistake and basically just took himself right out of it. Who won the lifting event in the Lowlands for men? There's a guy from Poland who's listed with the heaviest lifts. His name is Piotr something with an M. So maybe him, but it could be a kind of fake reporting. Sometimes that happens. Outside of that, it's pretty tough. I think actually BKG might have a chance on that. Fabian Benito should be pretty strong. There's not like the really heavy lifters in Europe are over in the strength and depth though.
There was a lot of criticism and a lot of thoughts about the workouts prior to this event. I don't have a strong feeling about it, but after listening to you guys, I was expecting a lot less than what I've seen. I've been super duper happy with everything that I've seen. I'm enjoying the camera work. I'm enjoying the commentators. I'm enjoying all the workouts. Are you pleasantly surprised or disappointed? Do you have a feeling on that, Brian?
I don't think a lot of people realize how often the camera crews, directors have no CrossFit experience. And again, this week, we're working with people who don't have a lot of experience covering CrossFit, but the team has been extremely receptive to those of us who are working with them in terms of educating them on what makes a good CrossFit broadcast, which is why I need to go in a minute to brief them for the lifting events tonight. And particularly the team one is obviously more chaotic and hard to cover than the individual. So we'll do our best. But having a crew like that wants to learn and wants to do a good job. I mean, I come here in the mornings and they're watching the Torian to try to see what they did, good or bad, that we could do for there. So we're making a big effort to try to give you guys the opportunity to see everything that's worth seeing on the floor. So if that's what's going on, then that makes me happy.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. I will have my CFO cut you a check for $5,000. Thank you for coming on. You're worth every penny. Okay. I wish I could pay you more. I love you.
Okay.
Good to see you, Brian.
Peace and love.
Hey, dude.
Hey, there's no more like static in the background. That's nice.
You guys are the luckiest people alive. You got to see Brian Friend live at the Lowlands. Good morning, Manny. It is 2 minutes away. Oh, shit. I don't have my schedule. That sucks.
What are your notes any good for?
No, my notes
are we done covering the Torian lifting? Is that where we left off?
No, I think we're done with everything. Unless there's anything specific.
I wanted to bring up the Torian lifting because did you watch all of that? Did you notice? 1 second. I actually took some notes, but I didn't take them.
Remind me what event are you talking about for the Torian lifting? When was that? Was that the complex you're talking about?
That was the complex. It was at workout number 3.
Yeah, pull up Sean's comment right here. Pull up Sean's comment. It might be the same thing Andrew's about to talk about.
This is exactly what I'm going to talk about because Royce hit 315, but he also missed his second and his third lifts. And his second and his third lifts would have brought him up into first place if he had hit even one of those. And now he's sitting in 4th place. He's 14 points behind Bailey Martin, and they only take 3 spots. And that's potentially his highest placing event of the weekend. So if he ends up missing the games by, I don't know, what is the difference between 8th and first place? 28 points. Then that's where he lost it right there. It was on the lift.
I have
So
a
I thought that was what we're
solution.
talking about.
He needs to
What?
he's a disgrace to Mayhem. He needs to have his shirt ripped off of him and his Mayhem credentials pulled. Why did he do that? Is that his fault or his coach's fault? I remember now
He
that you
missed
say
the
that, I
jerk.
remember seeing that.
He missed the jerk on both lifts.
So maybe it was a
and-
calculated risk. No, you're saying he didn't even need to do that. You're saying at 325 he would have won it.
I think he would have tied for no. I think 335 won that event.
Okay.
Yeah, 335 won that event, but he missed that on the jerk that would have tied him. And then I'm actually
So this isn't
slipping by.
accurate, Hiller. What's written down here? How about Royce attempting 335 when he only needed 325 to win the event?
He needed 335 to win it. 325 would have given him 4th place. I'm looking at it right now, and that would have also moved him into 3rd ahead of Bailey Martin. Bailey Martin, who by the way opened at 315, missed, and then he hit 295, and then he missed 310. So he missed both 315 and 310. It was just the only time I've really seen anybody start really high, back off, and then also missed the in-between weight. So that was interesting by Bailey Martin.
So you're saying that Royce Dunn should have lifted 325, and if he would have got that, that would have raised him at least.
That should have been his second lift, correct? Yeah, because his second lift was 335, and I don't remember if his third lift was the same or if he went down. But either way, he missed them both.
How many points are 4 places?
16 points.
So he would actually be inside the cut.
Yes.
Sorry.
And who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen with the next 2 events? But if he would have won that, he would have had a pretty good cushion over Bailey Martin. He would have had that 28-point swing.
Oh, right, because Bailey Martin. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Also moving Bailey Martin down 4, so it would have been a 32-point swing because he would have then placed ahead of him, moving him down a spot.
Man,
that's the type of stuff I like to look at.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the bubble, you're on the bubble.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to bring up with the weightlifting event over in Torian is that their lifting is pounds, which might really fuck with them. So all of their lifts on the platforms are in pounds, but when you look at the events, or even when you looked at King Arthur, that first event, the axle bar weighed whatever in kilos, and the overhead squat was whatever in kilos, and even the announcers, when they're talking, they say, here comes this lift, which is this in kilos. So everything over there is typically in kilograms, but because it's a standardized CrossFit workout, everything's listed in pounds. So that's kind of
how is it that there's CrossFit athletes, I mean, who still do kilos? If you're
because that's how it is everywhere but the United States, dude.
Fine, but it doesn't
sport.
But it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Like if I moved to France, I would wear pants that were so tight that you could see my cock and balls, because that's what men do in France. But when you come to the United States, if you're competing, and that would be because you're competing for women.
What country are they in?
I'm just saying that if you're going to compete
one where they wear
sport,
tights that are going to show your cock and balls, that's the one where they're at.
If you're going to compete in a sport that everyone's lifting in pounds, switch to pounds right away so that it doesn't become something that we can all make fun of you about on the Sevan podcast or some Andrew Hiller video.
Oh, geez. Well,
I'm not trying to be an ugly American. That's already established. I'm just saying. Well, I mean, if you were in Europe, what would you do? Wouldn't you get all your shit in pounds?
No. I mean, if I were the event, possibly. If I were a Torian and I were programming the event, possibly put everything in pounds. But now you're telling everybody who lives in Australia to also be lifting in pounds so that they're accustomed to it, when that's not really feasible for many of the affiliates, I'm assuming, many of the athletes, I'm assuming.
You got to switch to pounds. You're wrong. You have to switch to pounds if you're going to compete in CrossFit. What do you think, JR?
Well, they've always kept it in kilos at like previous like regionals events and stuff like that.
But not the games.
Correct. But how many people actually have to deal with that issue that get to come to the games from all those countries?
I think when they come into the United States, sure, by all means, everyone lifts in pounds. But I think it's just incredible. It was just odd to see the lift over there in pounds. And I'm sure that maybe that's the reason Royce was missing lifts, because he didn't know what the hell was going on. He's like, all right, typically I would do this at 150 kilos, which is 330. in pounds, but he went up to 335, and that 5 extra pounds made him miss a jerk.
What you're saying is right. Fuck the pounds. Let's all move to kilos. But until then, if you're competing in a sport that's pounds, it's pounds. Sevan hitting Hiller with it doesn't matter.
A monumental.
Yes,
You know how you had that, like, I don't give a fuck, that little like clip that you have in there, the sounds you need. It doesn't matter.
I don't give a look. I don't give a.
What do we got to do to get a "it doesn't matter" button?
I like it. I like it.
It doesn't matter.
I know. I need that. You're right. I need that.
I'll send you a sound bite.
Thank you. You're a good dude. I think. Go ahead, Jer.
Are you going to be saying that soundbite, or is Dwayne?
Dwayne, I don't do it like he does. No one does.
Look at JR calls him Dwayne. Dwayne. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sevan,
one more on that lift.
I need all sorts of stuff. Yes. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. So you're going to talk to this person, or you want to talk about this one more?
No. We're not. This person can't be on my show right now.
Ricky Garrard, Jay Crouch hit all 3 of their lifts, which ended up placing them above Royce. So because Royce missed his last 2, Ricky and Jay hit all 3. They slowly made their way up the ladder to then they hit 320 on it, but they only hit 320 on their final lift, which ended up beating his first lift of 315. That was just something else worth noting on that entire.
I'm really impressed with Ricky.
Madness. Yeah, Ricky's the fucking man.
Yeah,
of course.
What do you think, JR?
I just think watching that interval style workout, that really opened my eyes to Jay. That was nasty because Baden.
Nasty.
Taylor talked about it at length about how Baden just can really get deep into the cave, and Jay was right there with him the whole time. I mean, they finished 1 second apart. It was nuts.
Is Jay the one who dug in like a motherfucker on the bike on that last round? Like he just went.
I think Baden got to the barbell first.
That was Baden, actually. Yeah, okay.
Baden did something on the bike that was ridiculous.
Yeah, he was going.
Jay just looks so in control the whole time. That's what's impressive about him. You can tell when some people are hurting. Like Jason last night on the bike, Jason kind of had that squinty-eyed, mouth open look, just looking down at the ground when he was on the last Echo bike or the round of 20. But when you look at Jay, he just looked really calm the whole workout.
Here's another thing to say about Jay Crouch. He saw Ricky do the 320 and then matched him with a 320.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah,
just stepping up and killing it. Yeah, here I have. Baden killed it on the bike. He got off the bike way before everyone. Hey, is the bike almost always like that? I didn't, JR, a huge deciding factor if you see the bike?
I think it just depends on the workout structure.
On the other movements. Okay.
I guess that the 2 workouts we've seen thus far has been pretty deciding, with that being this workout and the one of the not so sled
push. Yeah.
All right, I think we covered everything, and I got
one more. Did you see the time discrepancy with Tia Toomey on that event where she? It's very, very likely, of course, that the timer at the event was a little bit different. But even with the athletes in the field, it appeared that a lot of the athletes were stopping at the end of the first interval, and she got an extra snatch in there. An extra snatch that she got in there that then also allowed her to finish it within that second interval that no one else finished. Did you pick up on that? I just made a little Instagram video on it. I thought it was kind of funny, but also holds a little bit of validity. We don't know what the timer said, but just watching the athletes, it looked timer is different. Says here with the programming. Yeah, I've experienced that and seen it before, but why are the other athletes stopping at what appeared to be about the same time as the timer that was stopping on the stream?
Why do we have to listen to Hiller talk about this when we can see it? Is it this one right here?
Oh yeah.
Oh wait a second. I think I did it wrong. Hold on. Share.
That's the one. Get with the programming. Aren't you in Lowland? How do you know the timer's different at the event?
He doesn't know.
He doesn't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
On that stream, when they were doing the interval event, Chase does say at one point, remember guys, the timer you see on the screen and the official clock here are slightly off by 3 seconds, I think.
Correct. Are you going to play this thing? Yeah, sound on? It's important.
I don't know. I can't hear it. You guys hear it?
Wow, he says it was 10 seconds off at one point.
Oh.
Wow! Stop breaking the law, asshole!
too glitchy.
Don't worry about it. It looks fine on my computer. So you're saying that she got some lifts in after the 2 minute.
Yeah. Yeah, she got one snatch in. It was 10 seconds off at one point at Lowlands. Yeah, but this isn't Lowlands. This is Torian. And then if you watch so I couldn't see it in there because it's so glitchy. But if you watch it on the Instagram or on the feed, every other athlete has the bar down when the clock hits 2:01 at the latest, and at 2:04, Tia Toomey has her bar over her head, which is 3 seconds, and then she ended up finishing. I think I had it like 0.82 seconds remaining on the clock, and that one snatch takes her more than 1 second to do, so she wouldn't have been able to finish. And again, does it really matter? No, because Ellie Turner, I believe, finished second, and it would have been an entire minute after. So does it matter? Maybe, maybe not. But it's also
it matters from the viewer perspective. You want to be able to trust the clock. The clock's there as an athlete, right? I mean, it's just
if you're watching the Super Bowl and all of a sudden, like the clock hits 0, everyone's like, "What the fuck?" They couldn't have gotten that playoff on the play clock. And usually those things are synced up perfectly. So I guess that would be the big tie together.
Conspiracy theories.
Tia Toomey getting helped out by the judges like she needs it.
I'm behind on the podcast, but we chose to skip both Mac and Syndicate because we couldn't actually decide on which one. Wow. Holy shit. Wow.
That's pretty funny.
Wow.
Oh my God. So many decisions. I can't do anything. And just
Matt and his wife sit around. They're like, should we do missionary or doggy style?
Neither.
Let's just go to bed. We can't decide. Let's just go to bed. I'll just go to bed.
Andrew, like in sports, when they don't call a hold and on the very next play they make up for it, like the makeup call. Maybe that snatch was the makeup.
Funny because I put that in my comment sections. I knew that the comments would be littered with people like, the things are different, blah 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 blah. I'm like, one, yeah, they're probably like, do we know for sure? No. And two, maybe they're just making up for that lift with the knee bend. That's what you're talking about, right? Like possibly, yeah, you're right. Same judgment, right?
Giving one back. Same lane.
JR, are you referencing that article that came out recently, or there was a video I saw on Instagram where they were interviewing an NBA ref, and he was saying how the refs would get together and decide to go after someone for something?
Oh no, I had no idea. But I'm a big NBA fan, and you can kind of tell sometime if like there was maybe a flop or like a charge that wasn't called at the very next possession, they'll call like a ticky-tack foul to almost make up. I mean, it just seems that way sometimes.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact details, but it was a NBA ref talking, and the refs got together, and they're like, I can't remember which. I think it was Allen Iverson or someone. He was always taking an extra step, and everyone always let him get away with it. And he yelled at one of the refs, and the refs got together and like, hey, let's just call him on walking for every time he does that. And and he just got destroyed. They destroyed him.
NBA refs sometimes appear to be super vindictive and like pretty big egos when it comes to like showing players up and vice versa.
The NBA sucks.
I think the NBA sucks too. I think it's a disgusting.
It was good like maybe 10 years ago, and it was even better 20 years ago. And now it's just terrible.
Same with the NFL.
Yeah, I can say that too.
It's a slop house of sellouts.
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing. We don't want CrossFit to be worse than it was 10 years ago and terrible in 20 years.
I don't even remember. Right. Well, I don't remember sending that guy, Greg, a link.
Yeah, you did it when you were high.
I'm glad I did. I opened that bag. Oh, let's talk about one other dude. Before we let's talk about
Hey Sevan, I gotta get off and get to the venue, man.
Okay, bye. We'll see you later. Thanks for coming.
I'm coming with you, JR.
All right, dude, sounds good.
See you, man.
Bye. Let's talk about this dude really quick.
Let's
talk about this dude really quick. Right here.
Who's this?
This is.
Who's sending you these?
This is just people at the venue. Oh shoot, this guy. I am. That's Scott Panchik.
Okay. I couldn't tell, but what do you mean? Why are you saying, what are we going to talk about this dude? Because he's warming up his shoulders before the event and activating his lats?
that this guy told us he's going to retire. He pushed. He was at the games last year. He pushed through with an injury that you thought, hey, maybe it's better. Like if he thought he was going to come again this year, he probably would have dropped out of the games, right? hey, protect the knee, don't injure it.
Yes, I do agree with that. He probably
Okay.
wouldn't have done it.
And instead, instead he's in 4th place.
Yeah.
And within striking distance of 1st place.
I don't think we're gonna see that happen. But he's totally gonna qualify.
But he is also in striking distance. He's only 12 points
I
away
guess
from Justin Medeiros.
You're damn right. He is within striking distance. Damn, I didn't know he was that close. Okay.
I really want
workout
Tudor
3 coming
Magnet.
up is the rope climb. You want Tudor Magnet to qualify?
Yeah, I really do.
Yeah, it's not looking good though because that first one was in his wheelhouse and the second one was indicative of what's going to be happening
For the rest of the week. What is their third
I-
workout? Have they started it?
It's the rope climb one, and I think it actually did. Yeah, you're not pulling these up anymore, right? You're not trying to get in trouble.
No, I'm not losing my podcast channel that's transcended the CrossFit market because they don't want me to promote their show. Fuck.
Oh,
them.
is this their method of bringing you down? Is that what's going on?
We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening.
And oh yeah, it is up right now, and right now, Hey 2 is going down.
All right. Oh yeah, I'm getting so many great pictures. All right, brother. I will let you know. I think we should get off here and go watch it. I will let you know. We will be back later today. I don't have my schedule in front of me, so I can't tell you when, but we will schedule it on YouTube very, very
I think it's
soon.
like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock your time.
Did Hillary? Oh, right. You're right. It is 1 p. Yep, about 1:15 Pacific Standard Time. We'll be jumping back on. Did Hillary see the trifecta recipe for success? Say kip early and often.
If they're talking about the rope climbs, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind because kip early and often on the legless rope climbs. Like, oh my god!
All right, guys.
Thank
you so much for joining Andrew Hiller and myself, JR Howell, Greg, and Brian Friend. Did I get everyone?